Good morning. Welcome to RSBN Live. I'm Matthew Alvarez on this Monday, June 2nd, looking live, of course, at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue as we continue yet another week of winning at that White House and all of the benefits of what President Trump and the cabinet leaders are doing throughout our country. We have a lot of news to get to today, of course, on the heels of yesterday's terrible incident, the terror incident, the act of terror in Colorado. We'll get into some of that as ICE is, of course, the deportations already on the rise, but I think it's really going to go into higher gear now that the suspect in that situation in Colorado yesterday is an illegal immigrant from Egypt. So we'll get into that in just a bit. Also, we'll have a number of videos to go over with you here on the network, including a couple highlights of the past, 24/7 news cycle, including President Trump's great speech in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, just from the other day, and a number of other items as we continue to monitor live events here at Right Side Broadcasting Network, as we continue to keep our eye on all sorts of conservative news, but also within that framework, what's happening out there is what we really are keeping our eye on here at the network. So as of today, right now, President Trump will be having a lunch with the vice president a bit later. That is closed press, so that's not something that no networks, anybody's going to get access to. It's something that the president does occasionally, of course, with the vice president. So that'll be happening today. And I did hear that the president said last week that there are some Pakistani officials that would be visiting Washington this week. So no word on who that is or when that'll be, but that's what President Trump said within the past few days at the speech there. So, and also with that press gaggle with a number of reporters the other night. And President Trump took about 9-10 minutes out there at Allegheny County Airport in Western Pennsylvania, spoke with a number of reporters in the rain. None of that matters to him. He just wants to get the word out of what's happening. And it is a continuation of really the first administration of promises made, promises kept. Yesterday on Truth Social, I posted the 20 promises from President Trump and the RNC to the American people. And it really is the 20 promises of the reformation of the United States of America. All 20 are beautiful. All 20 are great. They literally are. And it's not just because I'm on conservative media and I'm supposed to say that. It's true just for me as a citizen. And many people that I talk to, they say we want the border to be sealed. Well, it is. We want mass deportations. The majority of this country wants that. And we're going to get into that in just a second. There's a number of other promises there, of course, defending our Constitution, ending the weaponization of our government, but also manufacturing, making us a superpower with energy and manufacturing in our country, and all sorts of issues as well when it comes to domestic policy and foreign policy, but all within that 20 core promises, which you could find, if you'd like, online, of course, with the White House or DonaldJTrump.com. But, it's great to see that really it's a kind of a blueprint, a guideline for these 4 years. It really is. All in that 20 promises really can sum up what it really is all about. It legit is. I just can't believe the list. It's just because when you could sum up 20 items for an entire country, and that's how you're going to make America great again, and you're able to communicate it so skillfully and perfectly, I think today is one of those days that we're going to go over those 20 core promises again here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. It is always fresh, those 20 promises. It's always something is happening within that 20, literally every day. And we see it, and we're going to cover it here in just a minute. Let's go over a number of stories we're following, and then we'll get to a number of sponsors here. We also will be joined by Bruce Lavell, of course, President Trump's longtime friend and Atlanta businessman. I believe that's at 12:15 or 12 p.m. I have to double check the time on that, as we will have him live here. It's 12 o'clock, so noon, he'll be joining us. In the meantime, let's get the latest on yesterday's Boulder terror attack. 8 victims range in age from 67 to 88, all hospitalized, including a Holocaust survivor. The suspect, ID'd as you guys may have heard, Mohammed Solomon, a 45-year-old, an illegal immigrant from Egypt. Officials say the suspect used a homemade flamethrower and Molotov cocktails. The suspect also yelled "Free Palestine," according to federal officials, in what is being called an act of terror. The U.S. government has one thing to say about all of yesterday's terror activity that happened in Boulder, Colorado. Here's a video from ICE. As soon as it's ready, we'll go to it right now. And the accurate credit to that, of course, is ICE, Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement. I saw that video just on ice.gov yesterday. It's one of the opening videos there that I saw, and I said, well, you know what? Let's play that because yesterday what we saw in Boulder, Colorado, an illegal immigrant from Egypt causing a terror attack against Jewish people that were simply being peaceful during a peaceful walk there. Thinking about their friends or their family or loved ones from Israel or just people in support of Jews in Israel. And we have an illegal immigrant who did what he did yesterday. So that video we'll play again a bit later in the broadcast for those that are joining us as this broadcast continues. And we'll have, again, Bruce Lavell joining us at about 12 o'clock Eastern just to talk about current events and talk about the week ahead and all of that here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. So again, ICE, man, they are raring to go. As you know, they already are out there. There's 20,000 members of Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement. I'm sure that number is growing. And also the big, beautiful bill would help with all sorts of staffing when it comes to Customs, Border Protection, and on. So again, after yesterday and seeing some of the comments by Stephen Miller on X and others, we see that there's a problem in our country that we've been tackling every day. And we'll continue to do so, and that's going to continue to ramp up the deportation operation for our country to clear out people, especially criminals like that, that are not even supposed to be in our country. It's wild. All right, so we're going to tone it down quite a bit here. Let's go to a video that President Trump and the White House made about Doge and about Elon Musk. Even the last week was quite great because we saw Elon at the White House there, talking about their friendship, but also talking about Doge moving forward, and the cabinet leaders are really taking over with Doge. But here's a great video that the White House put together about Elon Musk.
Elon Musk has given me his complete and total endorsement. I will create a government efficiency commission tasked with conducting a complete financial and performance audit of the entire federal government and making recommendations for drastic reforms. As the first order of business, this commission will develop an action plan to totally eliminate fraud and improper payments within 6 months.
This is an order creating and implementing the Department of Governmental Efficiency, known as DOGE.
That's a big one. I have created the brand new Department of Government Efficiency. DOGE. Perhaps you've heard of it. By slashing all of the fraud, waste, and theft we can find, we will defeat inflation, bring down mortgage rates, lower car payments and grocery prices, protect our seniors, and put more money in the pockets of American families.
That is going to do more to unleash innovation, to unleash economic prosperity, when you don't have this crushing bureaucracy that answers to nobody sitting on top of the American people.
Well, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars of money that's going to places where it shouldn't be going. I ran on this, and the people want me to find it. And I've had a great help with Elon Musk, who's been terrific.
We are going line by line when it comes to the federal government's books. American taxpayers will see significant savings because of that effort.
These are systematic, programmatic reforms that we're talking about here.
People work their whole lives and pay taxes, yet they find out that they've been giving $2 million to Guatemala for sex changes. It's outrageous.
We've been overwhelmed with the positive response of Elon's effort. There's going to be so much savings because of what Doge is doing that you should be really, really excited about it.
I'm very proud of the job that this group are doing. They're doing it at my insistence. It would be a lot easier not to do it, but we have to take some of these things apart to find the corruption. We found tremendous corruption. Thank you, Elon.
A great video there by the White House commemorating and celebrating Elon Musk and Doge. Of course, Doge continues on. Remember at the beginning of Doge, all of those X posts or the website for the Department of Government Efficiency talking about several $1 million, in some cases billions of dollars going to all sorts of terrible programs. Well, that's not going away. We're still seeing the corruption, especially the waste, fraud, and abuse, be limited, if not squashed all the way from our country. I mean, that's really what this is all about. So we're monitoring that as we see it with Doge. So Elon Musk, a great patriot to our country, and a great video there by the White House. Also, all of this brought to you by allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. In a bit, we're actually going to play an interview with the owner of All Family Pharmacy, Michael Kunzler. Before we do, RSBN 20 is the promo code for 20% off more than 200 essential medications. There's antibiotics as well. So you're looking at ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, methylene blue, amoxicillin, penicillin, all sorts of medications. You can order in bulk. There's also the first aid kit, the travel kit, all sorts of kits there. All you have to do is go to allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. We know President Trump, slashed the prices for prescription drugs and that kind of thing. Well, All Family Pharmacy doing the same thing there, as they have an RSBN 20 promo code for you to save 20%. allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. We'll talk more about this great company, including the fact that, you can get these medications sent right to you instead of going through the whole process of if they even sign that prescription for you or fill a prescription of ivermectin for you. You go through a couple things on paperwork here online and you'll get that stuff. So allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. All right, so it's 11:13, Monday, June 2nd. Thanks for streaming in with us as we continue our coverage of this White House, but also when it comes to conservative media, conservative news, and commentary analysis. Of course, it was great to see RSBN host Megan Kohler in Pittsburgh the other day for that huge rally day in America. Robert McNeely will be back in studio as well tomorrow. I'll be covering a number of things this week. So looking forward to coverage coming up. Also last week, we saw RSBN host Christina Loren. So it's great to see everyone here at the network. You got accustomed to seeing us out there at the rallies and the campaign trail and all of that. Well, we're still doing the same thing, just indirectly covering now conservative media and news. I think better than the mainstream media does, because we're just telling it like it is. And the mainstream media, they don't. They like to lie, they like to spin. And we see the kind of questions that the president and Carolyn Leavitt gets on a almost daily basis there at the White House. Thank God that there's new media and conservative media accessed getting access at the White House, at the Eisenhower Executive Office building, as I did a few weeks back, interviewed a number of White House officials, because being able to have that voice that you guys agree with, I mean, and the thing is, it's not confusing or weakness or anything that's trying to spin a narrative or make it all confusing in that way. It's all just straight up common sense. It's common sense, again, for us to have law and order and justice be served, and to have our country be made great again, and to protect our Constitution and keep that the law of the land and all of our constitutional rights and on. So that's the side we're on, the truth, common sense, Constitution, Bible side. And that's Right Side Broadcasting Network. I mean, think about it. Since 2015, we're about to celebrate 10 years of live coverage. And let's do this. Let's go about 10 years ago to Knoxville, Tennessee, when then the presidential candidate himself, Donald Trump, was speaking some very powerful words. And I posted this on Truth Social and got a lot of love for it. And here's the thing. Let's listen to the actual words that he's saying. Even though this is a cool clip from RSBN way back in the day, listen to what he says. Listen to what Donald Trump says.
But, you know, they don't want to do it. And even sometimes I'll say, show the crowd. And I go home, I'll say, I bet they should. They don't even turn it. They don't turn it. They don't want to have people see what's happening. What's happening here is a movement. I'm telling you, it's a movement. This is not, we are tired of stupid people running our government. No, we are. They're stupid people. I used to say they're incompetent, but I don't really care. Either we're going to win or not win. Somebody said, what happens if you don't win? Bye-bye, I'm going. I'll go to Turnberry. I'll go someplace that I own, and I'll enjoy my life, and that's the end of that. I want to do something special with you, with everybody, because everybody wants to make America great again. We have so many problems. We're going to make it so great. And when I say that, I really mean, and I really believe we have this potential because the people are so incredible. When I say that, better than ever before. I really think we have that potential.
I don't think President Trump has changed in that 9-10 years since that speech in Knoxville, Tennessee. Again, that was on RSBN. That was Right Side Broadcasting Network from a great rally years ago, speaking about things that we're seeing today and saying, I believe we have something here. We have a movement here. And that was in 2015. He was right again, President Donald Trump. So again, we're celebrating here in the next, I think it's this month actually, that will be 10 years old, 10-year anniversary here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. So all the loyal viewers over the years, whether you started with us in 2015 or jumped on board in 2021 or whatever year it was, thank you for watching, and we're continuing to grow, and it's just fun. It really is fun to cover a great president, the greatest president of all time, along with George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln. So it's historic every day, just like President Trump and his team and what they're doing there with this cabinet is historic truth and transparency. It's pretty historic, I think, for conservative media as well as a whole, as we are giving everyone an option outside of the lies of the mainstream media and the fake news that have been pretty much trying to pull the wool over our eyes over the years. But now we're seeing really what it's all about. Thanks be to people like Rush Limbaugh, and then, of course, President Trump calling out the fake news over the years. So, again, it's 11:18, Monday, June 2nd. I heard the producer say something in my ear, but I couldn't hear him, so go ahead again. All right, let's go to Colonial Metals Group. freegoldguy.com/RSBN, freegoldguy.com/RSBN. So you're looking at tax-sheltered IRA, 401k, all backed in gold and silver. So for those of you with a retirement or a little bit of savings and you want to have it in a place that's secure, of course, gold and silver, and a great option for you. You'll get a free gold guide by just going to freegoldguy.com/RSBN. That's the website there. You'll get that info kit in the mail. Colonial Metals Group, freegoldguy.com/RSBN. The White House actually put out a highlight video from President Trump's rally just on Friday in Pittsburgh. So we're going to go to that video. Let's go to it right now if it's ready.
And I'm thrilled to be back in this beautiful Commonwealth at the legendary Mon Valley Works urban plant with the proud Pennsylvania patriots who are the heart and soul of U.S. Steel. A strong steel industry is not just a matter of dignity or prosperity and pride. It's above all a matter of national security. We're here today to celebrate a blockbuster agreement that will ensure this storied American company stays an American company. It will stay an American company. The golden age of America has only just begun, and together we are going to make America great again, greater than ever before. With the help of patriots like you, we're going to produce our own metal, unleash our own energy, secure our own future, build our country, control our destiny, and we are once again going to put Pennsylvania steel into the backbone of America like never before.
We saw a lot of the construction vests there in Pittsburgh, a lot of the U.S. steelworkers sporting their work clothes. And you remember when President Trump wore that vest back in the campaign, on the campaign trail, going out there and just being part of We the People and everyday America. And because he is indirectly that person too, like he is everyday America. President Trump is. Yes, he is super famous. Yes, he's the most famous person on earth. Yes, he overcame these awesome, wild things in politics and had a comeback that we've never seen before. Yes, he's the perfect guy for the job. But however, outside of all that, he is just like you and I, tells it like it is, says, hey, this is what we can do to make our country great again. Let's go get the job done. And that's obviously why we the people voted for him. In 3 straight elections, the majority of the country did. And so we're looking forward to a lot more winning over the next 3+ years. There's a lot to be done yet. We know that. We know those promises, those 20 core promises. If you're just joining us here on Right Side Broadcasting Network, of course, we covered the latest news out of Colorado from yesterday. There's a video we'll play from ICE a bit later in the broadcast if you missed it. But definitely keeping tabs on what's going on out there. And if there's any live events that happen while we're on this 2-hour broadcast, we will take you there live. Sometimes right outside the White House, there is the spot where it's called a stakeout, right? So it has the microphone set up right outside the White House, and you'll see Stephen Miller or Carolyn Levitt, sometimes Tom Homan, go to the mics. So if we see anything there, we'll take you there live. This is an entire live broadcast for you to just keep you up to date on what's going on out there. And those of you that already know what's going on, still, we have those different live feeds that we're able to bring you to as they happen. So let's do a quick shout out to the next 10 states. If you don't know what I'm talking about, well, I started a couple days ago. I said, let's do 5 days, 5 broadcasts, and each broadcast will thank 10 states for being loyal viewers to Right Side Broadcasting Network, but also it's a beautiful country out there. It makes me think of Sean Duffy with the Secretary of Transportation, of course, talking about the Great American Road Trip. You know, check out the country, and what is more American than a road trip, right? I mean, it's going to be great. Hopefully, those of you will be able to get a chance to travel to one of our oceans, the Atlantic, Pacific, the Gulf of America, of course, the lakes, the rivers out there, but so the following 10 states, I believe it's Massachusetts to New Jersey today. So let's just say hello, a shout out to Massachusetts watching, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, and New Jersey. So a shout out to those 10 states. And of course, we have 20 more states to say hello to. And if you missed your state and you do care about this, you can just go ahead and watch some of the replays. If not, hey, we've been talking about all the states because that's what makes up this great union. And it's all of us in all of these states, right, that voted for President Trump. And some of the states that didn't, you know, but there's still MAGA country within every state of this country, even some of the states that went to the other side of the aisle. So, but we know a majority, including all the swing states. Remember those 7 swing states? We talked about it a lot here at the network. Myself, Robert McNeely, Christina Loren, Megan Kohler, and others. We kept saying, oh, it's those key swing states, those 7 states. And then guess what? They all went for President Trump. And I believe they all went for him in the first go-around in 2016. Interestingly enough, in 2020, every swing state didn't go to President Trump. And then it goes back to the reality of it in 2024, every swing state for President Trump. So shout out. Let me see if I can, off the top of my head, say all 7, okay? This is, I'm testing myself here. So Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina. Is that 6 or 7, producer? I don't even know. I've lost count already. But, of course, the 7 swing states for President Trump. Arizona, Nevada. Anyway, so just shout out to all of you guys as well as we continue our live coverage here at 11:25 Monday, June 2nd. All of this brought to you by a number of sponsors, including MyPillow, mypillow.com/RSBN. Speaking of visiting various places, beaches and lakes and all that, the beach sale. All you have to do is go to mypillow.com/RSBN. Save 50% off all these great products right there. There are more than 2,000 products on mypillow.com. And those of you just, slowly getting into your Monday right now, guess what? There is a solution for that on mypillow.com. No, not getting a pillow and going to sleep, even though that's a good thing to do with the great products there. But the coffee, My Coffee, is really, really good stuff at mypillow.com/RSBN. So are the beach sale products there. 50% off, the great Mike Lindell. Also, this brought to you by allfamilypharmacy.com. We're going to go to an interview here shortly with the great owner of allfamilypharmacy.com, Michael Kunzler. But this is all about saving, first of all, 20%, and then secondly, the fact that you're going to be able to get ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine or amoxicillin, penicillin, methylene blue, more than 200 essential medications available at allfamilypharmacy.com. You can order in bulk. You can order 1 or 2 of the medications, but this is really streamlined. This is a lot faster than going through a doctor's office and maybe a pharmacy that says, well, we're not going to fill that order because ivermectin or the doctor says that, whatever. You'll be able to get all that through allfamilypharmacy.com. A shout out, though, to the doctors and pharmacists out there like All Family Pharmacy, who has 50 doctors, of course, out there in all the states, and 4 pharmacists that are filling orders. A shout out to the conservative side of medical health and things like ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine, with some doctors will say, no, you can't have that for this. And it's like, who are you to say that when these other doctors say it works and it actually does? I'm a fan of ivermectin as well. Anyway, allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. We'll go to that interview here in just a few minutes, as it's the bottom of the hour on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Looking beautiful there in Washington, D.C. And wasn't it great some 130 plus days ago when President Trump's words echoed off of that rotunda, inside the rotunda there? Because obviously, remember how cold it was. It was super, super cold. It reminded me of, I guess it was, 40 years ago when Ronald Reagan did the same thing. They said, we're not doing this outside. That's for the safety of everybody. And so anyway, President Trump with that great speech some 130 plus days ago there at the U.S. Capitol building on this Monday, June 2nd, looking live right now. All right, so it's the bottom of the hour. Let's take a commercial break. We'll be right back here on RSBN Live.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from the Diamond and Silk Chit Chat Live Show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
You've heard how hard it can be to get access to medications like ivermectin, all the things they don't want you to take because they're actually effective and they don't cost all that much, right? You've seen that one before. So it's critical to have something like that on hand for any emergency and to be prepared in a time of crisis. And that's why I want to tell you about All Family Pharmacy. They're cutting through the nonsense and they make it easy to get hard to find medications when you need them most. They'll provide the prescription, no hoops to jump through, no waiting room, no hassle, and they deliver it right to your door. All Family Pharma even lets you order in bulk so you can stay ahead of the curve. Head over to allfamilypharmacy.com for 10% off your first order. Again, allfamilypharmacy.com. It's simple. Get the 10% savings. Be prepared.
To celebrate our newest launch, Rev 7, I'm bringing you an amazing introductory offer, plus an exclusive overstock sale that you're not going to want to miss. Rev 7 is our premium energy drink that tastes great and gives you energy all day with no jitters and no crashes. That's because there's no sugar and no caffeine. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7 that for a limited time you can try our 3-pack absolutely free. Or check out our Percale bed sheets. I can't believe I'm even going to say this. Every color, every style, every size, only $29.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% on our Rev 7 12-packs or try our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. And our Percale bed sheets, all sizes only $29.88, even the queens and kings. Inventory is extremely limited, so order now.
Welcome back to RSBN Live. It's 11:31 on the East Coast, looking live there at the Capitol building, keeping our eye on any kind of live event or any kind of mini press conference. Again, outside of the White House, there's that stakeout location, of course, where sometimes Stephen Miller, Tom Homan, Carolyn Levitt, and others stop by and take some questions from the press. So if that happens, we'll bring that to you live. If the president decides to have something on camera, we'll go to it as well. As of right now on his schedule, it's a lunch with the vice president a bit later today or in a little bit. Of course, always working, making calls, taking care of business there. And anything that is on a public schedule, of course, we cover it here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. We'll bring it to you live. All right, so the White House says the price of eggs has dropped by 61% since President Trump took office. Thank God for that, because I'm eating a lot of eggs these days, trying to work out and be healthy. And if you remember, I was saying by July 15th, I was working to lose 25 pounds. This was a few weeks ago I said that. So on that journey still to lose that weight, but eggs is part of the diet there. So great to see 61% drop in egg prices, thanks to President Trump and also his team there getting that taken care of. But also, of course, if you're just joining us now, a lot of other stories happening out there, still monitoring the latest out of Colorado with that terrible incident yesterday, the terror attack from Boulder, Colorado. So in a little bit, we'll be getting some reaction from Bruce Lavell, a longtime friend of President Trump, but also an Atlanta businessman, just to hear what his thoughts are on that, but also other current events that we are monitoring and we've been seeing. Of course, President Trump just the other day in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, wasn't it great to see him back in rally mode. Let's go to one of those sound bites. President Trump said on Friday during that speech that the golden age of America is just getting started.
With the help of patriots like you, we're going to produce our own metal, unleash our own energy, secure our own future, build our country, control our destiny, and we are once again going to put Pennsylvania steel into the backbone of America like never before. The golden age of America has only just begun, and together we are going to make America great again, greater than ever before. Thank you very much, Pennsylvania, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
There's no It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. They have everything for young men to enjoy.
The man of the people right there in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We'll go to another couple sound bites and some other videos throughout the next hour and a half or so as we see the live stakeout position there. That's right outside of the West Wing of the White House. And if you see those green tents on the top left of your screen, that's where a lot of the fake news actually does their live reports. And there's some conservative media a little closer to the left side there. So it's great to see that new media there at the White House as well. Still, obviously have to be respectful of the colleagues there, but outside of that, you don't have to agree with what they're saying, especially when they're lying on a constant basis and acting like it's news. That's the thing that is the I'll just call it slimy thing that they do. They act like, well, according to sources, and well, first of all, which sources are you talking about? And second, is it common sense reporting, or are you guys just blowing smoke like you have for the past how many years and lied to the American people? Think about this, guys. How many people that you know of, whether it's friends or family or others, that listen to those lies over the years that have become unfortunately brainwashed? And these are good-hearted people many times. I believe that's the case, that got brainwashed, and they think that because X, Y, and Z mainstream media said it about President Trump, or they keep repeating it. That's why it's called brainwashed, right? They keep trying to sway public opinion. I feel so bad for people that got that woke mind virus or got brainwashed from the mainstream media over the years. But thank God, those of you that are watching right now that are awake to, hey, that's a bunch of crap and lies, and we're believing now and understanding now that this is actually what's happening. It's all rooted in truth and common sense. And it's great to have historic truth and transparency with this White House, because all that's coming out of the White House is common sense information. So it makes our job easy, because then you see President Trump's Truth Social posts, or you see these various press conferences, and you're like, yeah, that makes sense. Someone's here illegally. They should be deported. No activist judge should make that stop. You know, again, Ronnie Jackson, if you remember last week, the representative, of course, of Texas, saying simply, the American people voted for Donald J. Trump, not activist judges. So, you know, we see the will of the people is what this is all about. And that's why, if you remember at the top of the broadcast, and if you're just joining us, I was talking about the 20 core promises to the American people. We're going to go over that again, because it's not something that's old news. This 20 core promises, I actually just posted it on Truth Social as well, is something that is the playbook for this country and for President Trump and the cabinet. If you want to know what they want to do, you already know it, because we saw all the campaign speeches. You see it every day from Carolyn Leavitt and Stephen Miller and President Trump and all these cabinet leaders. But if you really want to sum it up into those 20 core promises, we're going to go over that in just a minute. So let's shift over to a newsletter, of course, here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. If you'd like to sign up for that or get that, all you have to do is go to rsbnetwork.com/newsletter. for those exclusive offers and America First updates, anytime there's various live coverage as well. So you can go and get that newsletter by going to rsbnetwork.com/newsletter right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. It's 11:38. It is Monday, June 2nd. Looking at the beautiful Capitol building there. Nice sunny skies to start off the month of June. As promises made, promises kept, when it comes to U.S. Steel in Pittsburgh. We have that soundbite from just the other day, President Trump speaking to the great workers of the Steel City, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. A lot of Steeler fans there as well. It was pretty cool to see those Steeler greats and current players that went up to the stage. That's on a different video. Of course, if you want to watch any of that speech, you can watch it right here on Right Side, whether it's Rumble or other social platforms that we're on. But it was a great speech if you missed it, so maybe replay that and check it out. But in the meantime, here's a portion of President Trump talking about U.S. Steel.
The best people. You built this country. You know, you people built this country. You people and others like you built this country. By the time I came into office, many feared that the Mon Valley would lose up to 3,000 steel jobs, that U.S. Steel would close, and it was a fixture of the Pittsburgh skyline. It may never live for another week. We had times we thought we were going to live you weren't living for another week. But I promised the people of Western Pennsylvania that I would never, ever let that happen. And as president, I kept that promise. Boy, did I keep that promise.
Again, if you missed any of that speech, you can always check it out on Rumble and other social platforms, of course, that Right Side Broadcasting Network airs. Of course, live streaming, really a lot of people do that these days, and it's interesting to see that, the changing of the times when it comes to how people consume their news. And it's great to see a number of you watching here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Again, you remember us as a rally network. We are still a rally network in the sense of we covered the rally on Friday. We covered all those rallies since 2015 and all these speeches and events. And indirectly, that was news reporting. That was common sense to show the crowd and to hear from President Trump and all those pre-programmed speakers. Well, we're continuing on and adapting with the times. We see, okay, well, hey, we covered all those rallies. Let's cover conservative media. Let's cover all sorts of news that's happening, including the breaking news from yesterday with the Colorado terror attack. We'll get back into some of those details in just a bit, especially this video. If you guys didn't see it, we'll play it a little later, but this ICE video that is on ice.gov, but it's a video that is the overall, the ins and outs of what ICE does, and it's just a video that I think is interesting to play now because the ICE deportations, we already know are on the upswing for our country, but after yesterday's terror attack with someone that is an illegal immigrant, it's a video that really gets you going in the sense of, hey, you know what? Yeah, we support the mass deportation operation, but now I think public opinion is even increasing more because we just saw what happened yesterday to people that are just of faith, Jews yesterday, where this anti-Semitism is happening in our country. And then how about, we'll get into it in a bit. There's a lot to say about that. All right, it's 11:41 Eastern, actually now 11:42, Monday, June 2nd. Let's go to the following video from All Family Pharmacy. So I recently caught up with Michael Kunzler, the owner of All Family Pharmacy. It's great because at the end of the day, what you're learning is how easy it is to get ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, when other ways sometimes it's not so easy. But let's go ahead and do that interview with Michael Kunzler of allfamilypharmacy.com. Joining us now is the founder of All Family Pharmacy, the owner, of course, too, Michael Kunzler. Thanks again for joining us on Right Side.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Definitely. A lot of Americans first heard about ivermectin during the whole COVID situation, but it's actually been around for decades. So can you tell us how it's used for parasites and why people are turning to it once again?
Yes, the newest thing now is the parasite cleanse. We sell tons of those every day. It's a 30-day cleanse. We love it. A lot of our patients come to us with fatigue, bloating, gas, digestive issues, skin rashes, brain fog. The brain fog could be from long-term COVID. It could be from, just an active parasite in the system. There's so many different correlations to it. So we do now the parasite cleanse that people are looking for to, basically rid their body of parasites. There's so much data coming out, how much issues parasites are causing humans.
So how often then, if someone does the parasite cleanse, how often should they take ivermectin? What should they know before starting?
Sure. It's a one a day for 30 days. We go based on how we make the ivermectin. So we compound it in-house at our pharmacy. Each capsule comes to a milligram that's based on your weight. So you actually can go to the website, use the dose calculator, and it helps you determine which capsules to purchase. And you'll take one dose every day for 30 days in the morning, drink plenty of water. Best to use on an empty stomach first thing in the morning for absorption. That's how we do it.
Okay, so we're also hearing about, and we don't want to have to say this, but it's happening, this new COVID variant that's out there making headlines. People are wondering, okay, now what's next? Do I take ivermectin still, or what do you do?
Yeah, the new variant, the NB181, I believe they call it. It looks like it's similar to what Omicron was, just, not deadly at all. Was COVID ever deadly? Nobody ever knows. But, it's just, it's very contagious. So we just are encouraging patients to stock up for the summer, right? With the new variant going around, you're going to get sick. You're going to get sick for a couple days. It's best to have the medication on hand prior to getting sick. That way you're ready to go, right? We have the ivermectin, the hydroxychloroquine, which we're using for antiviral type properties to fight off these viruses in the system, as well as, anti-parasitic conditions. On top of that, we have antibiotics. The stuff that we love too with COVID is the albuterol inhaler, which is a short-term rescue inhaler. So people were having trouble breathing during COVID. The albuterol inhaler was huge. We have the nasal spray, fluticasone nasal spray. It's a steroid for the nasal cavities. It basically, the inflammation in the nasal cavities, it brings down the inflammation, allowing people to breathe better due to all these sinus conditions caused by COVID, or even just the flu or the regular cold. So we have a ton of different medication that people could stock up on. We have kits that we would probably suggest. It's a sinus infection kit. It's very similar. It's got cough medicine in there. It's got an antibiotic for you. It's got the ivermectin. So it's everything that you need to be prepared for something like COVID.
Well, it's awesome to have a place like you guys, allfamilypharmacy.com, to take care of all of that, because there's a million things going on in life every day. There's a lot of different choices and options out there. But when you have a place like you guys, you don't have to fill out this long medical paperwork form, do you? I mean, is it just a couple things, or how does it work?
Yeah, no, it's not a ton of paperwork. You don't have to sit in line and wait at the doctor's office. Go on our website, fill out the medical questions. There's anywhere between 5 and 10 medical questions. They're very basic questions that come direct from the physician, to you if you have a phone call with them, or if you have any type of communication with them or one of our pharmacists. Are very brief as well. So it's a very easy, convenient process. You just go on our website, fill out the medical forms. That's the protection for the patient and the protection for the doctor, as well as us at the pharmacy. So just fill everything out accurately and correctly, and we'll be able to get you the medication as soon as possible.
And then what's great is what we're seeing right now with Right Side Broadcasting Network, RSBN 20, that 20% summer sale that's happening. So how have people responded to that, and how does it tie into what President Trump recently did too, when it comes to the fact of prescription drug prices that he dropped?
Yeah, so obviously Trump's going to be fighting the legislation on this. It's going to probably go pretty high up in the Supreme Court in order for him to cut these drug prices. We've started our initiation now. We're ready to drop prices. Our prices have not changed. We're repurchasing from wholesalers, but we're giving our patients the opportunity to save 20% off their medication. For instance, I have patients right now who purchase prednisone. They have anti-inflammation, they have autoimmune diseases, and they need it. It's $11.75 with our discounted code. I mean, you can't pay for that even with insurance at your local pharmacy. I just sold the patient omeprazole the other day. It was $9.75 for a 30-day supply of prescription omeprazole, 40 milligrams. Over the counter is $20 for 20 tablets. We're giving you $9.75 for 30 tablets. I mean, our prices are now lower than CVS, Walmart, Walgreens, and even the over-the-counter items. We're changing the game with President Trump, and we're really big on trying to drop the prices, because we hope that a lot of these medications that are emergency drugs, like we always speak about, the EpiPens of the world, diabetes type 2 medications, specific insulins, they're needed in the maintenance world, and these patients need it at an affordable rate. $700 for Eliquis it's not right. It's not right to the patient. It's not right to the consumer. The insurance carriers don't even want to pay for it. So something has to change.
Yeah, well, so let's peel back the layer a little bit, get to some of the nitty gritty. So we keep hearing that drug prices are high because they fund research, but the question is, are Americans really paying for science, or is it just for corporate profits?
It's a great question. And I have an amazing example for it. Ozempic. Ozempic is the hottest drug on the market right now with Mounjaro. It was designed for diabetes type 2. Eli Lilly, they all spent billions of dollars putting this through research for diabetes, right? Millions, possibly billions. In trials, they found out that patients are losing over 100 pounds on average. And these are obese individuals who are going through these trials with them. They took that exact drug, they put it through their own trials, they rebranded it, They put a new label on it with a new FDA approval for weight loss. They sold that exact drug for $1,400.
Wow.
So they already paid for the research. They already know how to make the drug. And they're now doubling the price and selling it for weight loss medication. I mean, it's a clear indication that they're in it for the profits. They're not in it for the long haul. So they're patented. Nobody can touch it. It's sad to see what had happened, but it's a clear example that they're in it for profits.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, when we see allfamilypharmacy.com and the prices that you guys offer and the more than 200 essential medications, right, and antibiotics, all sorts of things, even amoxicillin, penicillin, but ivermectin too, right?
Yeah, ivermectin. Ivermectin's our number one seller. We're bringing in a couple anti-parasite drugs as well, albendazole, which we have. We're going to start compounding it soon to make it cheaper because it's an expensive drug. But if we can go around, certain regulations that allow us to compound it, patient-specific, higher doses, it's going to be huge for the anti-parasitic market. I mean, a lot of these people go on social media now and they're doing these parasite cleanses with over-the-counter items that aren't working. We're going to now offer two of the best anti-parasitic medications on the market. On top of that, mebendazole. And then the methylene blue, as you know, and most people know, is now gaining ground. Methylene blue is huge. RFK Jr. is all about it. The cognitive effects from it. And then the newest medication we just added this week is NAD+. It's probably the most popular supplement on the market right now for the cognitive effects, similar to methylene blue. So now we now offer NAD+. You can check that out in the Shop All Medication side of the website, and it's on our front page as well. It's a very interesting supplement to try, and use the coupon code so you can save 20% off your order.
Yeah, exactly. So RSBN 20 is the coupon code. Mike, thank you so much. Michael Kunzler with All Family Pharmacy. We'll see you again soon, and allfamilypharmacy.com is the place to go. Thanks again, Michael.
Thank you. Have a great day. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, back here live at 11:51 this morning here on Monday, June 2nd. Of course, monitoring any live press conferences or events going on. Also, we know that outside the White House, of course, is that stakeout camera where sometimes Stephen Miller or Tom Homan or Carolyn Levitt show up and talk to the reporters there. We'll take you there live if that does happen. We were just standing by right now. And basically, we're covering what's going on right now in the 24/7 news cycle, specifically yesterday's terror act in Colorado, and also just playing some videos that we've seen over the past few days from the White House and really looking back at a number of great things that are being accomplished by this White House. In the meantime, speaking of live and right now, so Representative Ronnie Jackson on Truth Social and on X said the following. Right there, only President Trump has the guts to take on the swamp and cut out the waste, fraud, and abuse. Always something to see there from Ronnie Jackson and many others, of course, on Truth Social and X. Isn't that the truth right there? President Trump having the guts to take on the swamp and cut out the waste, fraud, and abuse. And that is something that we're seeing with DOJ, of course, with the cabinet leaders working as hard as they can to take out any of the corruption in our country. And I think that's the best way, of course, for us to heal and be healthy, to make America great again. So as we clean up all that and as we monitor that here at the network, we look forward to seeing more and more wins by President Trump, specifically that 20 core promises playbook by President Trump and the RNC, the promises to the American people, really is what we're focusing in on as we monitor the reform of America. I mean, this is something that you may have heard of the word reform more in like the United Kingdom. Nigel Farage has that party, the Reform UK party. Well, he's on the side of making America great again and making England great. So also, looking at the 20 core promises, which we will hear in just a second, it's great to see that we are seeing each of those 20 promises, some of them already fulfilled, like number one, seal the border. So we've been watching a lot from the southern border there, of course, and seeing a drop in the amount of people coming across. How about probably down to zero at this point, but not a lot of people, of course, because the military's there, the Customs and Border Protection agents, and also a major decrease in fentanyl and narcotics, and some of the mainstream media trying to ask, why is that happening? Why is that happening? It's called President Donald J. Trump. Simple as that, full stop. That's why it's happening. and all of the leaders that he has appointed to take care of business, to make it get better in this country. And that's just one out of the 20 core promises. Before we get to our live interview in just a few minutes with Bruce Lavell, longtime friend of President Trump, and also the Atlanta businessman, who will talk about all sorts of current events that are happening. We'll just have a conversation for some time as we monitor any live movements there at the White House. As of right now, on the public schedule, President Trump to meet with the Vice President for lunch today. Nothing else in the sense of a public schedule. Doesn't mean President Trump isn't making phone calls and working on other things. Of course, we know that that's pretty much constantly on his mind. If you remember some of those speeches that he had, I remember one in the Middle East just a couple weeks back, talking about the tossing and turning sometimes, thinking about, okay, what should I do with this, or what should I do with that? Even while trying to sleep sometimes. That's somebody that's always, trying to access that I'll get kind of deep for a second, but the subconscious, you're just trying to figure out what's the best way to do this next step. And that President Trump has always made these really great decisions. So it's great to see just the formation of these things happening. Like, number one, seal the border, which is that number one of the 20 core promises. So we're going to get into some more of that here in just a second. As for the future schedule for President Trump that we know of, on June 14th, not too long from now, 12 days from now, of course, it's Flag Day, it's President Trump's birthday, but we're also going to have some great live coverage as it's the Army Grand Parade in Washington, D.C. So we'll have more than 6,000 of our soldiers there, helicopters, all sorts of Army vehicles to celebrate 250 years of our United States Army. So that's coverage on June 15th. Then the next day, on the 15th through the 17th, is the G7 in Canada. We know President Trump will be attending that north of the border. Not sure yet specifically what day and what day he'll speak, but of course you can count on us because we'll be getting that information shortly. And on top of that, of course, bringing you live feeds or a playback right away of anything that happens, especially when it comes to President Trump or the Vice President. In some cases, we see random videos, like out there in, I think it was Singapore last week, where the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, was actually working out with troops and working out with some of the DOD out there. Pretty cool to see that. Maybe we'll go to that for a little bit if we'd like in a minute. But in the meantime, let's get to some more of our sponsors here, allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. You can save 20%. RSBN20 is the promo code. You can pay less for those prescription medications, more than 200 essential medications and antibiotics right there on allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. So you can order in bulk if you'd like, or you can order just a few medications. Whatever you'd like to do, just go to allfamilypharmacy.com. Check it out, /RSBN. RSBN20 is that code. Also, Colonial Metals Group, freegoldguide.com/RSBN. So you get a free info kit in the mail all about gold and silver as a backup plan to the dollar. In general, though, all you have to do is kind of know that the tax-sheltered IRA 401k is 100% tax-free with Colonial Metals Group. So freegoldguide.com/RSBN. We have actually an interview coming up with someone from Colonial Metals Group later this week. So we'll be playing that interview as well for you right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. All right, so it is 11:58 Eastern Time, Monday, June 2nd, almost the top of the hour. On the other side of the break, we'll have Bruce Lavell joining us, longtime friend of President Trump, of course, and he'll be talking about a lot of the current events that are happening. We'll be right back here on Right Side Broadcasting Network.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
Valley Silk from the Diamond and Silk Chit Chat live show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
You've heard how hard it can be to get access to medications like ivermectin, all the things they don't want you to take because they're actually effective and they don't cost all that much, right? You've seen that one before. So it's critical to have something like that on hand for any emergency and to be prepared in a time of crisis. And that's why I want to tell you about All Family Pharmacy. They're cutting through the nonsense and they make it easy to get hard to find medications when you need them most. They'll provide the prescription, no hoops to jump through, no waiting room, no hassle, and they deliver it right to your door. All Family Pharma even lets you order in bulk so you can stay ahead of the curve. Head over to allfamilypharmacy.com for 10% off your first order. Again, allfamilypharmacy.com. It's simple. Get the 10% savings. Be prepared.
To celebrate our newest launch, Rev 7, I'm bringing you an amazing introductory offer, plus an exclusive overstock sale that you're not going to want to miss. Rev 7 is our premium energy drink that tastes great and gives you energy all day with no jitters and no crashes. That's because there's no sugar and no caffeine. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7 that for a limited time you can try our 3-pack absolutely free. Or check out our Percale bed sheets. I can't believe I'm even going to say this. Every color, every style, every size, only $29.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% on our Rev 7 12-packs or try our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. And our Percale bed sheets, all sizes, only $29.88, even the queens and kings. Inventory is extremely limited, so order now.
Welcome back to RSBN Live. I'm Matthew Alvarez. Thanks again for streaming in on this Monday, June 2nd. We'll be soon going to Massachusetts. There's an ICE announcement that's happening there. We'll bring you that in just a bit. In the meantime, let's bring on Bruce Lavell, longtime friend, of course, of President Trump, Atlanta businessman. Sir, thank you again for joining us on Right Side.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Matt. Thank you.
Definitely. Your thoughts about just yesterday within the 24/7 news cycle, yet again, a terror attack against Jews in Boulder, Colorado, and this person, we're told, was an illegal immigrant from Egypt.
Yeah, it's so sad. This gets back to, once again, the flooding of the open borders. People, millions of people, I use that term, that are here in our country we don't even know about. Hiding in plain sight in some aspects. I think the question is, Matt, to the American people, who else is out here? Who else is lingering amongst our streets, around our families, our neighborhoods, our communities, our synagogues, our churches, etc.? I think that's the biggest question. And I know there's a lot of pushback. I know politically, I wish the Democrats were more engaged for the basic American citizens with citizenships than they are worried about who's being deported, who has no equity or has no legal right to be in the country. I wish they would focus their attention more on that, and maybe we can get a resolution on some of this mayhem that we're having amongst our streets.
Exactly. So this was just from yesterday, of course. And do you think that this is going to really sway public opinion even more? Like, obviously, we the people said, okay, yes, President Trump, mass deportations, let's get it done. But after yesterday's incident, do you think that just really bolsters up the whole movement of ICE deportations across our country?
Well, I hope so. I remember when there were a lot of Democrat mayors, especially the failed Mayor Lance Bottoms here, who was a one-termer in Atlanta, who now wants to run for governor, go figure that out, was advocating saying do away with ICE. And they were mimicking this across the country. And what people don't realize is ICE was not just about finding illegal immigration. They were also their, quote, public safety sworn officers that interrupt child sex trafficking rings, prostitution rings, drugs. They're more than just that. And so to say you want to do away with ICE is saying, well, I don't want any, quote, police in my community. And I think that did a really bad service, especially during the Biden-Harris administration, to take that tune and mimic that across the country and say that we don't need them, and if they come to our town, we're blocking them. And so, like I said, there was more to just illegal immigration. There were a lot of public safety issues that were going on that their, quote, legally sworn peace officers have the arrest powers to intervene in.
Exactly. Let's switch gears now and talk about Doge a little bit. We saw Elon Musk at the Oval Office just the other day, and the White House put out a great video just, thanking Elon for his great patriotism and his work. But as you know, I mean, the other cabinet leaders now are going to continue on with Doge. I mean, a government department there doing great for our country. So your thoughts just about how that all went?
Well, listen, the republic for which it stands, Matt, it was designed for good men and women that come out of the, quote, private sector and to serve, to take terms, to run for office, to bring their personal life experiences to public office. It was never designed for a lifetime appointment or a lifetime career as, quote, a public official, especially in the elected official capacities and appointed positions for that matter. Some people like to be elected their whole life, stay there 30, 40 years like Nancy Pelosi and Schumer and many others. But it's like any other business person that you encourage in your community, whether it be city council, to run for mayor in your community, to run for judgeship. You're a good lawyer. Say, man, we need a good judge in Superior Court. Could you please run? That's what it was designed for. So kudos to Elon. And like I said, one thing about when you take a service like this, and I've done this myself back in 2015, when you take a step out of private sector and you serve, there are some arrows and bows that you might acquire sometime, unfortunately. But I'm glad that doesn't deter the many folks that want to serve. In 2015, it was hard. I'm going to be honest with you, to encourage people because of how hostile and how, vile, the left treated anyone that tried to go through a nominating process, trying to get appointed, etc. So thank God we've created more of a courageous private sector, people who want to come up and serve. So that's what I was watching, to answer your question, Matt, was watching Elon getting those great accolades.
Exactly. And now looking forward 12 days from now, the 250th celebration for the United States Army. It seems as if President Trump is probably the most patriotic president in our lifetimes outside of George Washington, Thomas Jefferson in the beginning of our country.
Yeah, and Reagan. I actually volunteered for his campaign in high school. So yeah, I think listen, this is something I try to remind people about when when you hear the word "Make America Great Again," America first. One thing about what makes great nations is the cheer. When you're cheering something, when you go to the Olympics, are you cheering for your U.S. team or another country? Are you cheering for your community to be safe and strong? Are you cheering for your son's Little League school team, for their team or the other team? And people forget, it has to start from the leadership of speaking. I always like to say, in order for something to come into fruition, you have to speak it into existence. And you speak your nation into existence to be great, not perfect. Only one person I know that was perfect. And and that's what he understands. I think always, real quick, the story. He says, what makes you think you're qualified to run for president? Listen, if I can stand before a New York zoning board, I know I can run for president of the United States. He was saying how tough it was had he had to go through to speak a vision into a public body, into building a neighborhood or building a building. And so you're speaking it. And that's where that gift comes from that President Trump possesses.
Speaking of New York, the passing of Bernard Kerik, the former police commissioner there. I remember watching, various videos when it was Mayor Rudy Giuliani and the chief was right behind him right there. I mean, and I've heard Bernard Kerik speak at an event in Pennsylvania. That guy was based. He was patriotic. What a great person. What are your thoughts about his passing?
Well, I met Bernie back in the Bush administration. You remember he was on the short list to be appointed. Of course, the haters came out and blocked him and all the silliness. the man's been through a lot, true patriot. He was a catalyst in getting Rikers Island in check, being the police commissioner, of course, helping President Trump 2015 run for president, et cetera. The list goes on. I think when you say people gave their life for their country, their community, Bernie would definitely be on the top list. I actually had we text a lot and talk to each other a lot. In the last few days, I text him and I didn't hear from him. And I have a good friend that was actually with him that watched him go home to the Lord. So, Bernie was just that guy that, and I put this in a quote when I was on another network. I said, he's the kind of guy that if you have to go down this dark, scary, mysterious alley, you want to take Bernie with you. If you got to jump down in a foxhole with the guy, it'd be Bernie Couric all the way, 100%.
Perfect. That's amazing. I mean, yeah, he was a great person, and definitely our condolences to Bernie's family as well. Yep. Bruce Lavell, thank you again for joining us from Atlanta. Can you just talk to us about the fact that we have a little bit of time yet to the midterms, but just the importance still of that, even though Bernie Sanders is going around Pennsylvania trying to hold rallies, not many people showing up, but really trying to push the midterm thing already.
Yeah, well, him and AOC, if they're going to be the face and the leadership of the Democrat Party, then hey, God bless them. let them keep rocking. Listen, to answer your question, the midterms are critical. I'm praying for good quality candidates, number one. Number two, I'm praying for the voter to see the common sense and not the noise, the silliness, but the actual common sense of what each candidate stands for. And so that's pretty much the only way you're going to get over this, because you see what we have with Jasmine Crockett, you see what we have in AOC and Tlaib and Omar. That tells you the mindset of the constituency of who's voting for them. So the only way you got to do with this, man, you got to pray away that stupidity and say, can you please push forward the common sense candidate that wants to do the will of the people and do what's best for the country and the American people, and not some crazy far leftist social program or some silliness and noise to get elected just to get Twitter clicks. And what I just mentioned to those list of people, they were all Twitter stars. So I'm praying to get beyond the noise and look at the actual numbers and the facts.
I agree 100%. Bruce Lavell, thanks again for joining us from Atlanta.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Matt.
Definitely, Bruce. I love the words common sense. I love common sense. I love that he brought that up there. Isn't that the truth? President Trump set the bar so high of being a common sense outsider that tells it like it is, that's got the natural born leadership qualities. And then, of course, we see what he has done over the years. If you're just joining us, we're going to throw back to a 2015 clip in just a bit. We're actually going to go now, though, to current day. Of course, it's June 2nd, Monday, June 2nd, to Boston, Massachusetts for an ICE announcement, Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement. We'll also be playing a video from ICE and covering the latest from the terror attack in Colorado just from yesterday. In the meantime, let's go to a number of our sponsors right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network, including mypillow.com/RSBN. If you're looking to save 50%, always a good thing to do, right? There's a great beach sale there, mypillow.com/RSBN. Hopefully you get some gear and maybe you're taking a trip to the Atlantic or the Pacific or the Gulf of America or the lake or wherever, or maybe just to have some stuff for a pool. There's some towels there. So yeah, mypillow.com/RSBN. Also, if you'd like to donate to Right Side Broadcasting Network, all you do is text RSBN to 801-801. And you might ask, why donate to Right Side? Well, I mean, at the end of the day, what we're doing is covering anything live when it comes to various events at the White House or the State Department or the Department of Defense, or other news and analysis, or our rally cameras when we were there on Friday. And moving forward, as we cover the president when he's in Canada for the G7. Also, June 14th, the huge Army celebration, celebrating 250 years for the Army. And pretty much every day, I mean, you think about all of the coverage you watch here, whether it's a press conference with Karen Levitt or whatever, all of that doesn't come free to us. I mean, we love showing it to you guys, all the news here, especially from a conservative perspective of people you guys have grown accustomed to watching over the years. But, if you'd like to donate at all you have to do is text RSBN to 801-801. All right, so it's 12:14 Monday, June 2nd, looking live there at the White House. Not much on a public schedule today at all. We do know the president will be meeting with the vice president for lunch today. Of course, President Trump always 7 days a week working, regardless if he's on camera in front of the American people or not, even though that happens pretty much, 90% of the time. But still, he has to be on these phones and making decisions with the cabinet team. So, we will give you the latest as we get it here on Right Side. Of course, ICE also in the news a lot as we see mass deportations. We'll be playing a video. It's kind of a highlight video of what ICE does in just a bit after we go over some more details of yesterday's terrible incident, the terror attack in Colorado. Knowing that the suspect is a legal alien from Egypt. So we're going to play that video in a bit. In the meantime, let's shift up to Massachusetts right now as ICE there made an announcement recently. Let's take a look. All right, so as they get the audio synced up there, we'll go to that in a minute. In the meantime, we just heard, of course, from Bruce Lavell just a minute ago. So if you missed any of that, all you have to do is rewind a little bit and check it out. Let's shift over to the fact that 8 victims range in age from 67 to 88 yesterday in Boulder, Colorado, all hospitalized, including a Holocaust survivor. The suspect ID'd as Mohammed Solomon, in his 40s, an illegal immigrant from Egypt. Officials say the suspect used a homemade flamethrower and Molotov cocktails. The suspect also yelled, "Free Palestine." This all according to federal officials, and what is being called an act of terror. And the video I'd like to play for you is, I believe, the answer to what happened yesterday, and it's just going to keep ramping up with ICE. Do we have that video, Director? Let's go to that right now. So ICE deportations, of course, always ramping up. I mean, it's been that way since the beginning of President Trump's administration. If you just look at the second of the 20 core promises, number 2 is a massive deportation operation. It's carrying out the largest deportation operation in American history. Well, after knowing that now yesterday, the situation of this illegal immigrant that committed that terror act in Colorado, I'm sure ICE is obviously going to be continuing on, but it's really, I think, ramping up throughout our country. And I think that's what we want as we the people. As you guys know, I mean, that's one of the major promises from President Trump. So what we're going to do is, as we get the video and audio technical situation lined up from Massachusetts for ICE, we're going to go over some of the 20 core promises as we monitor any live events or news that happens here on Right Side Broadcasting Network, including, if you just are joining us now, we're going to take you back to 2015. We played this video earlier in the broadcast, but if you didn't catch it, a pretty cool video as we are about to celebrate 10 years here at Right Side Broadcasting Network, and you'll hear from President Trump back in Knoxville, Tennessee in 2015, right here on Right Side. It's about a 30-second clip, but it's a really good one. Looking forward to playing that for you in just a bit. But let's go over the core promises as we get ready to go to ICE in Massachusetts, as they had an announcement today. We'll have that as soon as it is ready to go. Also, seal the border and stop the migrant invasion, #1 out of the 20 core promises. Again, this is the playbook that we're seeing happen every day. I mean, over the next 3 years plus, this is the playbook to make America great again. You know, as a quarterback or as a leader of a team or as the commander-in-chief, right, you have to have a play. And there are 20 plays, and here are the 20 plays. #1, we know it's to seal the border and stop the migrant invasion. Okay, that one we could check off because that really has happened. #2, carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. #3, end inflation and make America affordable again. #4, make America the dominant energy producer in the world by far. #5, stop outsourcing and turn the United States into a manufacturing superpower. #6, of course, large tax cuts for workers and no tax on tips, no tax on overtime pay. #7, defend our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and our fundamental freedoms, including freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the right to bear and keep arms. #8 out of 20, prevent World War III, restore peace in Europe and in the Middle East, and build a great Iron Dome missile defense shield over our entire country, all made in America. #9, end the weaponization of government against the American people. #10, stop the migrant crime epidemic, demolish the foreign drug cartels, crush gang violence, and lock up violent offenders. #11, rebuild our cities, including Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. #12 out of 20, we're getting there, strengthen and modernize our military, making it, without question, the strongest and most powerful in the world. #13, keep the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. #14 out of 20, fight for and protect Social Security and Medicare with no cuts, including no changes to the retirement age. #15, cancel the electric vehicle mandate and cut costly and burdensome regulations. #16 is to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory and on. #17, keep men out of women's sports. #18, deport pro-Hamas radicals and make our college campuses safe and patriotic again. #19, secure our elections, including same-day voting, voter ID, paper ballots, and proof of citizenship. And then rounding out the 20 core promises, the game plan for making America great again and the reformation of this country is unite our country by bringing it to new and record levels of success. All right, so 12/23, Monday, June 2nd. I believe we do have that video ready to go. In Massachusetts, a recent announcement from ICE. Let's take a look. Okay, we're shifting now to one of our other videos before we go to that one, as we get the audio still secure on that. Let's go to 10 years ago, about 10 years ago, where President Trump was speaking in Knoxville, Tennessee. The reason why I bring that up is because we're about to celebrate 10 years of being live right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Take a look.
But, you know, they don't want to do it. And even sometimes I'll say, show the crowd. And I go home, I say, I bet they should. They don't even turn it. They don't turn it. They don't want to have people see what's happening. What's happening here is a movement. I'm telling you, it's a movement. This is not, we are tired of stupid people running our government. No, we are. They're stupid people. I used to say they're incompetent. but I don't really care. Either we're going to win or not win. Somebody said, what happens if you don't win? Bye-bye, I'll go to Turnberry. I'll go someplace that I own, and I'll enjoy my life, and that's the end of that. I want to do something special with you, with everybody, because everybody wants to make America great again. We have so many problems. We're going to make it so great. And when I say that, I really mean, and I really believe we have this potential because the people are so incredible. When I say that, better than ever before. I really think we have that potential.
Knoxville, Tennessee, 2015. Great to see the president saying some of the same stuff, but it's what's needed for this country, as obviously a huge movement has been created since 2015. So also, let's go now finally to Massachusetts for the ICE video. Let's take a look.
Immigration enforcement operation, ICE and our federal partners targeted the most dangerous alien offenders in some of the most crime-infested neighborhoods of Massachusetts. Our efforts resulted in the arrests of 1,461 criminal alien offenders. 277 of those offenders have been ordered removed from the United States by a Justice Department immigration judge. Make no mistake, every person we arrest, thank you for your professionalism, tenacity, and dedication to duty. To the residents of our Massachusetts communities, today your streets are a little safer. To the victims of these alien offenders, know that today you will not be mistreated by your attackers. To any criminal alien offenders victimizing Massachusetts residents, ICE is not going away. We are coming for you. While removing these individuals is extremely gratifying, we still have a lot of work to do. While we covet a mutually beneficial cooperative relationship with our state and local partners, we will work around them when it becomes necessary to ensure the safety and security of Massachusetts. ICE and our federal law enforcement partners remain committed to protecting our communities and prioritizing the well-being of our public by locating, arresting, and removing criminal alien offenders and making our New England communities a safer place to live. Now, Special Agent in Charge, Homeland Security Investigations.
Thank you. Good morning, I think it is. My sincere thanks to Director Lyons, U.S. Attorney Foley, and all of our partners with whom I stand shoulder to shoulder with every day to ensure the safety and security of our communities. ICRO, CBP, U.S. Coast Guard, ATF, DEA, DSS, FBI, U.S. Marshal Service, the IRS, U.S. Attorney's Office, and many others. Today, as we announce the arrest of nearly 1,500 illegal aliens over the last 30 days, I want to reiterate, this is not a victory lap. Today is a collective reaffirmation of our commitment to ensuring the public safety and national security of our communities. With each agency bringing unique authorities and expertise, HSI Special Agents will continue a whole-of-government approach to take the fight to transnational criminal actors and organizations who poison our communities, who exploit and victimize our children, who defraud our citizens and government systems, who illegally harbor and employ aliens, who perpetrate violence, and all of those who choose to ignore the rule of law. It should be no secret by now that you will continue to see all of our special agents and officers in your communities conducting daily enforcement actions 24/7. I caution those who try to impede or obstruct operations, or those who dare to threaten or assault our law enforcement officers. We have been and will continue to be working with the U.S. Attorney's Office to investigate and prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law. Our job is to uphold the Constitution, and that's exactly what we're doing. I join my colleagues when I share my heartfelt thanks for the work of the frontline officers and agents who put their lives on the line every day in support of this great nation. Thank you.
Okay, we'll take some questions. Todd, Director Lyons, can you speak to the roughly 50%? We'll get ABC News here.
Two questions. Number one, do you have any update on the Milford teenager that was detained by ICE over the weekend, and where is he? Do you have any status on where that person's name is? The second question is, the attack in Colorado overstated pizza, and according to DHS, is in the U.S. illegally. Do you have any information on the suspect? Was he on law enforcement's radar? And can you tell us more about his immigration?
So I'll take the I'll take Colorado first. So I'll defer to the FBI on that one. It's an active joint terrorism investigation, obviously. Still in the early stages that ICE was able to identify that he had overstayed his visa. While he did have a work authorization permit, it was expired. So with that, I will say that there are millions of individuals like this that we are attempting to locate from the past administration that weren't properly screened, that were allowed in. I will tell you that's a huge effort for ICE right now. In regards to this gentleman, I can't give you any intel as far as it's a joint terrorism task force investigation, and more will be coming out, but I'll defer to my partners in the FBI for that one.
What about Marcelo Gomes still over the weekend?
In regard to Marcelo Gomes, he remains in ICE custody. He was not the target of the investigation, but like we have repeatedly said, sanctuary policies put us in a position to go out into communities and look for people. When jurisdictions don't cooperate with ICE and we don't arrest people in custodial arrests, then we must go out into the community. And when we go out into the community and we find others who are unlawfully here, we are going to arrest them. We've been completely transparent with that. He's 18 years old, he's unlawfully in this country. And unfortunately, we had to go to Milford to look for someone else, and we came across him and he was arrested. That's where that stands.
You're looking for someone dangerous and violent?
Well, I'll take that one. So we're looking for his father. So obviously he's the father of the year because brought his son up here illegally as well. And yes, we had intelligence from a local law enforcement agency. We were looking for the father. And like Field Officer Director High said, they made a traffic stop on that vehicle, which was the father's vehicle. He was driving that vehicle. But like any local law enforcement officer, if you encounter someone that has a warrant, or like I said, is here illegally, we will take action on that. We're doing the job that ICE should have been doing all along, and that we enforce all immigration laws.
What's the danger on his father?
What is dangerous about a high school junior? He was about to play in the graduation ceremony, play in the band the next day. I guess, what is the danger of the 18-year-old to that community?
So I'll put it back on you. What about an 18-year-old who's just stopped for a traffic violation by Mass State Police, who's wanted to be a habitual traffic offender on his way to graduation? Would you be asking that same question to the Mass State Police for not arresting him? Like, I didn't say he was dangerous. I said he's in this country illegally, and we're not going to walk away from anybody.
So where is he? Is he having due process? Does he have a lawyer?
Yeah, well, the whole due process thing, ICE doesn't just scoop people off the street and remove them. Everyone gets due process, and that is what the U.S. Attorney's Office for. It's what the immigration courts are for. They all do that. He will go in front of an immigration judge. He'll have the opportunity to post bond. But again, I'm just going to ask you a question. Boston police stopped an 18-year-old on the way to high school. Are we having this conversation right now?
There would be a crime. There would be some evidence.
It happens every day. Every day. There are multiple 18-year-olds arrested. But yet, we are focused on this one. And I will say, his dad hasn't turned himself in yet, and his dad knows he's the target of it. So.
What's his dad targeted for? What's his dad targeted for?
Sorry, the other question. So the governor says Massachusetts is not a sanctuary state, but your teams don't receive assistance when you hit like all these different counties across, not just in Boston, but in these other suburbs and places across the state. So what's your response to the governor on that, and how difficult is it for your teams to not get that assistance? Like when you went to Operation Tidal Wave in Florida, it's a different scenario. You come to Boston, it seems like it's a little bit more difficult.
I think it's a matter of semantics, right? We can say we're not a sanctuary state, but when people are arrested for local charges, drug traffickers who are peddling poison in our communities are walking out the door, not turned over to ICE, what does that sound like to all of you? That's sanctuary. When states and local jurisdictions don't cooperate with ICE and they let bad actors walk out into the community, they let child rapists just walk back out, $500 bail, that is sanctuary. So it's fine to say that you're not, but your actions absolutely show something different.
As for the search operation, U.S. Supreme Court last week halted a ruling out of Boston blocked the administration from relocating immigration for all for about a half million Venezuelans migrants. And a couple weeks earlier, the Supreme Court also allowed the administration to make TPS for thousands of Venezuelans. Could you talk about the said ICE is now the rest of the country people covered by those programs? And make sense of what the scale of that would look like.
Well, in that case, I would refer you over to the Citizen Immigration Services. They handle that. ICE is only the enforcement arm of the immigration process. So I can just say that anyone that does no longer has protective status would be in this country legally, and ICE would take an enforcement action.
As for the search, can you tell me more about the search operation here and exactly, what are the officers, where are the officers coming from to try to help in terms of resources? Are these actual ICE agents or officers, or are they being contracted outside of the agency? And also, how do you know that they're properly vetted here to conduct and follow the same law?
So what I can tell you is no one's contracted. All the partners up here are Title VIII immigration designated officers. So every federal agency has a Title VIII authority. So these are federal law enforcement special agents and officers from all over the DHS, DOJ. Like I said, it's a whole of government approach. These aren't any contract individuals. But you can see what the numbers, like I said, we ran an operation before up here. And while they were on targeted operations for criminal aliens that were released, other ones were being released at the same time. 24 hours a day, criminal aliens are being released all over Massachusetts. The only way to account and take these other individuals back into custody was to go ahead and partner with our other DHS partners that are here and DOJ partners to ensure that we have the proper manpower to respond whenever someone's released from custody.
On that point, can you guys offer a few more specifics on the charges? Are you counting illegal reentry as among those 709 people that's assumed to be charges versus how many were convicted and violent versus non-violent crimes? These people?
Yes, those include people who had been previously deported, were found back in the Commonwealth, and have been charged again with illegal reentry.
So how many were charged with something non-violent?
I don't have that number, but I can tell you, for example, on May 7th, I believe, ICE took a man into custody who had been removed from the country 5 previous times. He had been arrested 9 times on serious criminal charges, including assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, indecent assault and battery on a person, kidnapping, unarmed robbery, threatening, and intimidation, and he had a conviction for an OUI. Another man who was arrested in Worcester had been deported 4 previous times. He came back into this country, had 3 open OUI charges. Each time he was arrested for OUI, he was released without notifying ICE so that they could go and pick him up safely and securely and put him back in deportation. It was only after he violated one of the terms of his release for that 3rd OUI that ICE was notified and the detainer was allowed to be executed.
Wouldn't it be breaking the
Thank you very much. That's all the time we have. I'm sorry.
He was being charged, he was being held on violations of his release.
Why do they wear masks?
ICE doing the job that they are paid to do, to protect we the people, but also mass deportation operation is now full tilt. If it wasn't already, which we know it was, but after yesterday's illegal immigrant situation, when it comes to a terror attack, this illegal alien was from Egypt. This is not a question any longer. The DHS posted about what you just saw there, and it was specifically Operation Patriot, was one of the largest immigration and enforcement operations ever. Today, Massachusetts is safer with nearly 1,500 illegal aliens removed. So that's just one state in the union. If you were to have a press conference in each state, there's a lot going on throughout our country. This is something that if there was any hesitation to be like, hey, mass deportations are not good, actually they are. They are good. And you look at what happened yesterday. Again, an illegal alien from Egypt committed this terror act yesterday. And when we see a lot of other crimes happening, and specifically with Operation Patriot, a lot of the people there, all criminal illegal aliens. Let's go to President Trump. He spoke on Truth Social just moments ago. I'll read it to you. I know that's kind of small for you, but I'll read it to you right now. Yesterday's horrific attack in Boulder, Colorado will not be tolerated in the United States of America. He came in through Biden's ridiculous open border policy, which has hurt our country so badly. He must go out under Trump policy. Acts of terrorism will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. President Trump just a few minutes ago on Truth Social saying this is yet another example of why we must keep our borders secure and deport illegal anti-American radicals from our homeland. My heart goes out to the victims of this terrible tragedy and the great people of Boulder, Colorado. So that from President Trump just within the last few minutes, as it's 12:40 Monday, June 2nd, here on RSBN Live as we monitor all sorts of stuff going on out there, just like in Massachusetts with ICE's announcement about Operation Patriot, netting 1,500 illegal aliens. They are now deported or getting deported. And we're seeing ICE do their job around the country. And this is what needs to be done to get our country safe, secure, but also to make America great again. Let's go to allfamilypharmacy.com, a great sponsor here at Right Side. allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. So if you're looking for things like ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine, methylene blue, or more than 200 essential medications, including antibiotics, you can get that through allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. We know President Trump, he slashed the prescription drug prices. All Family Pharmacy already doing the same thing. 20% off now. It was 10%, now it's up to 20. But you're talking all of these medications are what's needed if you're dealing with all sorts of, whether it's virus, bacteria, disease, that kind of thing. Allfamilypharmacy.com. It's pretty simple. All you do is go to that website. You fill out a quick online medical paperwork. It's not that long. You just fill out some information there, and you can order in bulk if you'd like. I remember a few years back, my wife and I, we had COVID. It was during Christmas. You know, unfortunately, we couldn't go and see everybody, so we were with each other, but we didn't have any ivermectin on hand. I wish we would have had that even prior to starting to feel sick, and we didn't have it. And we didn't know about allfamilypharmacy.com, but now we do, of course. And so allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN, great website. Go ahead and get your prescriptions through them. There's doctors in all 50 states. They have pharmacists as well. So allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. All right, so it's 12:42, Monday, June 2nd. As we get more information from the president's public schedule for the week, we will share that with you. We only get that, just like any network does, usually the night before we get that information, and then we'll be able to air various things the next day. So today on the schedule, simply the president meeting with the vice president for lunch. But outside of that, of course, working on behalf of the American people, as today's Monday, June 2nd. And we know that coming up June 14th, of course, the president will be attending the huge Army parade, the grand parade celebration on the 14th. Of course, Flag Day, President Trump's birthday as well. We'll have a lot of live coverage. It'll be great to see on that Saturday, June 14th, the celebration of 250 years for our United States Army. 6,600 soldiers will be in attendance, 150 vehicles, 50 helicopters. They'll follow a route from Arlington, Virginia to the National Mall, starting at the Pentagon, and fireworks will follow. So it'll be great to see that coverage coming up. But that's still 12 days away. A lot more to happen from now until then when it comes to covering various things at the White House, including if there are any press briefings this week, we'll be there for it, as we are and have been since this administration started back on January 20th, 2025. And then the next day, so June 15th through the 17th, the president will be going to Canada for the G7. We'll have coverage of that as well. All right, so we have the latest post. Again, we already saw that from President Trump. Let's see if there's anything else that the president has posted in the past few minutes, other than the one he just posted 19 minutes ago, again saying yesterday's horrific attack in Boulder, Colorado will not be tolerated in the United States. So you can check that out on Truth Social, as well as the president speaking about yesterday's incident. Again, this terror attack specifically was the details. Again, the fact that this is someone that was from Egypt, an illegal alien involved in a attack against Jewish people there who were just peacefully marching and walking there in Boulder. And then he uses what the officials are calling a kind of a makeshift flamethrower or self-made flamethrower, and then also a Molotov cocktail. So that person, of course, is behind bars and will be dealing with the penalty of his crime. Also, of course, being deported after all of the next steps that will be taken here. So, yeah, we'll monitor that story as we get it. We already went over the 20 core promises to the American people just minutes ago. So if you missed any of our live broadcasts, which started at 11 this morning, we covered a number of the latest news items that are out there. Also, we threw back to a number of videos as well from the past few days. President Trump, of course, his speech in Pittsburgh was great, Rally Day in America. Also, we threw to 2015 as we're about to celebrate 10 years here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. A video from President Trump back in Knoxville, Tennessee. If you missed any of that, all you have to do is scrub back or just watch the replay. Thanks again for watching here at the network as we're about 15 minutes from the top of the hour. Let's take a commercial break. We'll be right back on RSBN Live.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from the Diamond and Silk Chit Chat Live Show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
You've heard how hard it can be to get access to medications like ivermectin, all the things they don't want you to take because they're actually effective and they don't cost all that much, right? You've seen that one before. So it's critical to have something like that on hand for any emergency and to be prepared in a time of crisis. And that's why I want to tell you about All Family Pharmacy. They're cutting through the nonsense and they make it easy to get hard to find medications when you need them most. They'll provide the prescription, no hoops to jump through, no waiting room, no hassle, and they deliver it right to your door. All Family Pharma even lets you order in bulk so you can stay ahead of the curve. Head over to allfamilypharmacy.com for 10% off your first order. Again, allfamilypharmacy.com. It's simple. Get the 10% savings. Be prepared.
To celebrate our newest launch, Rev 7, I'm bringing you an amazing introductory offer, plus an exclusive overstock sale that you're not going to want to miss. Rev 7 is our premium energy drink that tastes great and gives you energy all day with no jitters and no crashes. That's because there's no sugar and no caffeine. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7 that for a limited time you can try our 3-pack absolutely free. Or check out our Percale bed sheets. I can't believe I'm even going to say this. Every color, every style, every size, only $29.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% on our Rev 7 12-packs or try our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. And our Percale bed sheets, all sizes, only $29.88, even the queens and kings. Inventory is extremely limited, so order now.
Great to see Mike Lindell on that commercial, but also going through a court case right now as well as he continues to fight for election integrity and security. So we support Mike Lindell, of course, and all of those endeavors. Also, just keeping the word out there about freeing Tina Peters out of Colorado. We had John Strand on last week talking about that as well. So covering the latest news here at the network as we monitor various things happening, including the desire to see some justice be served for especially the people that have committed crimes and broken laws over the past several years. Specifically now, as we look into just today, we see, of course, a picture from the White House, which we'll be posting as soon as we can. We can look at it now if you'd like. This is a post from the White House. It says, Boulder anti-Semitic terror attack. Illegal alien Mohammed Solomon, who set Jewish Americans on fire, entered during the Biden administration. This is a direct post and a direct quote from the White House. He's from Egypt. He was here illegally. And then with that woke mind virus and that system of beliefs there to cause violence, horrible to see. And President Trump, if we can go back to that post, guys, from the president as well, speaking about this just moments ago on Truth Social, talking about yesterday's horrific attack, of course. You know, this is something that the team with ICE and others, now there's not 1 ounce of public opinion that can come against ICE deportations. They maybe tried to for a little bit, some of the people out there, but you can't argue with the cold, hard facts of common sense. Again, President Trump saying just a few minutes ago, yesterday's horrific attack in Boulder, Colorado will not be tolerated in the United States of America. He came in through Biden's ridiculous open border policy, which has hurt our country so badly. President Trump saying he must go out under Trump policy. Acts of terrorism will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. This is yet another example of why we must keep our borders secure and deport illegal anti-American radicals from our homeland. The president says, my heart goes out to the victims of this terrible tragedy and the great people of Boulder, Colorado. So yeah, a lot of reaction, especially from Stephen Miller on X as well, talking about this. Of course, Tom Homan, I'm sure, will be saying something about it as well. I mean, this is, you know, we see our country having law and order restored. We see our country getting the borders sealed, and now the mass deportations that have been happening, but really kicking into high gear. Now, outside of all of that, we see the economy, you know, doing better. We want to see even better results as we look forward, because it's the reformation of America that we're following here, and we're seeing it with those 20 core promises accomplished by our great president, Donald J. Trump. So glad you're watching here live on this network, as we have a few more minutes left in the broadcast. And then what we'll do is, if there's any breaking news throughout the day, we'll be able to have it here on the channel, or at least on X or Truth Social or our website or our app, Facebook as well. I mean, we're always posting various articles. We have some great writers here at Right Side. And then for the remainder of the week, as we get the president's public schedule, we will bring you live coverage, as we've seen the president sign so many executive orders, or we'd see Karen Levitt at the White House for the press briefings. So we will constantly be live as much as possible here at the network, but also if you watch things on replay, it's not really really old news, as you say. It's definitely something that's either moments ago or pretty fresh when it comes to the latest news. All of it brought to you by a number of sponsors, including Colonial Metals Group. Now, you know, those BRICS nations like Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, they try to use their own dollar instead of our U.S. currency. And there's all sorts of financial headaches that can happen out there. But thank God for Maganomics. But also you have Colonial Metals Group, where if you'd like to put your money into gold or silver, you can do that as well. It's a tax-sheltered IRA, 401k, all backed in gold and silver. It's 100% tax-free. You can get a free info kit on gold by going to freegoldguide.com/RSBN. A great sponsor here at Colonial Metals Group, Right Side Broadcasting Network, with this great sponsor. And you can see that QR code. It gets you the same spot, freegoldguide.com/RSBN. All right, so we have about 7 minutes to the top of the hour. We'll be closing our broadcast in just a few minutes now. Thanks again for streaming in live with us. Again, if you missed any of our videos or live interview from earlier, all you have to do is just scrub back a bit, check it out. And, you know, it was really great to see that post from RSBN back in 2015 when President Trump spoke in Knoxville, Tennessee, really speaking about the future of our country, the future of this movement. And we usually don't want to play it 3 times, but this one I got to play one more time. We played it twice. Let's play it a third time, Director. Let's go to that video from President Trump. This is what's great about the president. A lot of things, we know that. But when he speaks and creates through prayer and through hard work and through just that fortitude, just understanding that this is what I see coming up in the future. Listen to what President Trump said back almost 10 years ago.
But you know, they don't want to do it. And even sometimes I'll say, show the crowd. And I go home, I'll say, I bet they should. They don't even turn it. They don't turn it. They don't want to have people see what's happening. What's happening here is a movement. I'm telling you, it's a movement. This is not, we are tired of stupid people running our government. No, we are. They're stupid people. I used to say they're incompetent, but I don't really care. Either we're going to win or not win. Somebody said, what happens if you don't win? Bye-bye, I'll go to Turnberry. I'll go someplace that I own, and I'll enjoy my life, and that's the end of that. I want to do something special with you, with everybody, because everybody wants to make America great again. We have so many problems. We're going to make it so great. And when I say that, I really mean, and I really believe we have this potential because the people are so incredible. When I say that, better than ever before. I really think we have that potential.
I mean, he said it 2015. So we are about to celebrate 10 years of live coverage here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. So many rallies, speeches, remarks, moments in time. And think about all of that coverage over the years right here on RSBN. RSBN, Right Side Broadcasting Network. This is RSBN Live. I'm Matthew Alvarez. Also coming up tomorrow, of course, Robert McNeely will be back in studio after being off for about a week. So it's going to be great to see him back. But also, anytime there's a rally or anytime there's live coverage to bring you, we'll bring it to you here on Right Side, as this is conservative media. This is the antidote. This is the solution to the problem. Conservative media is, I mean, yes, we are one of the players of conservative media. There's other outlets out there and podcasts and all that, but it's just great to be on the right side of history and not have to listen to that junk on the left side, which is all that mainstream media stuff that's out there that really just doesn't tell it like it is. And I think that is what I like. I know that's what you like. And the reason why I know that's what you like, most of you watching right now, is because you voted for President Trump. And he's the guy that tells it like it is. And he's an outsider. He's not the establishment candidate, the establishment president. He's the common sense people's president. So we in conservative media are not the establishment legacy media. We are different than they are because I'm not reading from a prompter right now. I'm telling you from my heart and my mind. And I remember watching President Trump's speeches. If you just are joining us, I just showed a 2015 clip. He said it back in the day. He said, well, and he didn't even have the prompters with him, the teleprompters. He says, you really shouldn't, as a presidential candidate, even have a teleprompter. You should just go out there and say what's on your heart. And that's what we do here at this network. When Robert McNeely's here and he's talking, he's not reading from a prompter. Now, if we get a prompter in the future, it's just for some notes or a couple other things. But really, though, it's great to be able to be so open in communication here, as truth and transparency of common sense reporting is what you're going to get at Right Side. And we'll keep our eyes on what's going on out there and do our best to bring everything to you. We have many years in journalism through all of us that work at this network. So glad to be able to use the gifts that God has given all of us here behind the scenes, whether on camera, whether in management, all of us given a gift to do this thing called media, but on the right side of history. We have a lot of sponsors to thank, so let's do it. All Family Pharmacy, thank God for this great company. allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. Get 20% off by just using the RSBN 20 promo code. So we're just going through the thanking each sponsor, but if you want more information, all you have to do is go to allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. Also, Colonial Metals Group, freegoldguide.com/RSBN. You'll literally get a free gold guide sent right to your house. All you have to do is go to freegoldguide.com/RSBN. Also, speaking of /RSBN, let's go to mypillow.com/RSBN. Those of you getting ready for any kind of beach trips, lake trips, or maybe the pool, there's some good stuff right there that you can get. 50% off beach sale, mypillow.com/RSBN, the great Mike Lindau. Also, if you'd like to donate to Right Side Broadcasting Network as we continue to cover all sorts of live events, all you have to do is text RSBN to 801. So all you do is text RSBN to 801-801. And also we have a newsletter, rsbnetwork.com/RSBN. Get those America First updates and exclusive offers. All right, that wraps up our 2-hour coverage today. Of course, monitoring any live events that are happening. Not much today, but we did show, of course, a lot of videos from the past few days. The Friday Rally Day in America, and also that ICE video that we played a couple times. You got to check that out. It was great to have Bruce Lavell join us, a longtime friend of President Trump, at the 12 o'clock hour. As we wrap it up today, we'll see you tomorrow. If there's any breaking news, we'll be right back here on the channel. I'm Matthew Alvarez. We'll see you in a bit.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from the Diamond and Silk Chit Chat live show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
You've heard how hard it can be to get access to medications like ivermectin, all the things they don't want you to take because they're actually effective and they don't cost all that much, right? You've seen that one before. So it's critical to have something like that on hand for any emergency and to be prepared in a time of crisis. And that's why I want to tell you about All Family Pharmacy. They're cutting through the nonsense and they make it easy to get hard to find medications when you need them most. They'll provide the prescription, no hoops to jump through, no waiting room, no hassle, and they deliver it right to your door. All Family Pharma even lets you order in bulk so you can stay ahead of the curve. Head over to allfamilypharmacy.com for 10% off your first order. Again, allfamilypharmacy.com. It's simple. Get the 10% savings. Be prepared.
To celebrate our newest launch, Rev 7, I'm bringing you an amazing introductory offer, plus an exclusive overstock sale that you're not going to want to miss. Rev 7 is our premium energy drink that tastes great and gives you energy all day with no jitters and no crashes. That's because there's no sugar and no caffeine. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7 that for a limited time you can try our 3-pack absolutely free. Or check out our Percale bed sheets. I can't believe I'm even going to say this. Every color, every style, every size, only $29.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% on our Rev 7 12-packs or try our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. And our Percale bed sheets, all sizes, only $29.88, even the queens and kings. Inventory is extremely limited, so order now.